everyone. Welcome to the Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, with me is Megan.
Hi.
And today we are talking about Dukes of Ruin by Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue.
Love it.
I love it. I have to say, okay, spoiler alert, we're talking about the book. I'll probably refer to the Lords a little bit if you haven't read those. So just
then
be
you
fair.
should.
I don't think you
don't have to.
No, I don't think you have to, but you should.
At some point, you can read the Dukes first and then fall in love with the way they write and read the Lords.
Yeah. It's just, I had a hard time reading the Dukes of Ruin because I was still so stuck on the Lords and the story so different from the Lords. For some, like in my head, I was like, it's gonna be like the same story but different characters. And I'm so happy it's not the same story with different characters. I'm so happy. But like I had a really hard time transitioning from I love my Lords.
You do love your Lords.
Like I do. So it was really hard for me to like leave them behind and move on to the Dukes and not know what's going to happen and then have it be so different. And I felt like the Lords wasn't easier. It's so weird. What was happening with the Lords, I think, was more digestible for me. Maybe than what's happening with the Dukes and Lavinia. Like,
see, I'm trying to think. No, and I can get what you mean. And and it's funny because I think I might have thought that the Dukes was more digestible for me, which I know is crazy. I think, okay, first of all, there's a prequel. The Christmas prequel was helpful to me. I think that like I would have had a different perspective of like having some background information on Nick and Lavinia, and also having that background information on Pretty Nick and Lavinia and how he cared about her in Lords.
True.
Like we got so I knew how he felt about her. So okay, so both books kind of both have this like non-con, dubious con scene at the beginning. They both have that.
You know, you're right, because like that didn't bother me.
As much in Lord. Maybe it's just
been both. And Dukes, it just didn't bother me either. I think
it was written well. It was well written. It's like the perfect kind of like dubcon. Right. I think it's technically dubcon. There some people will say non-con, but I'm like, but the whole thing about dubcon is it's dubious. It's like it can be like there was a yes, I know. So I call it dub personally.
Well, my thing is, okay, if we're talking about story, Story was very clear in her thoughts. Like I kind of liked this, right? Like there was a lot of like they would do some, well, besides like that, there's some acts that happen where she's like, I didn't fully hate that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but with Lavinia, I feel like there's a lot more of her just doing it because she felt like that was her only choice, not that she actually liked it.
That she was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying there.
So I think that was like my so the actual acts didn't bother me because she did allow them to happen without really a fight, but the fact that she's still not fully, I felt like Story was like on this like teeter-totter of like I kind of want to, but I know but I have this goal to not be. Well,
Lavinia got there. I think that she got there, but she didn't start out there because she didn't start with a contract. I think the contract was a big thing because Story started out with this contract, which made it which can make it more digestible. And then the contract didn't get brought in and the deal didn't get brought in until later, until Pretty Nick's talking to Dimitri, and he's like, well, how'd you get your girl? So yeah, Lavinia is different because Story came to them. Story did come to them, and Lavinia was taken by them, but she was saved by them. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's why it was easier for me because I knew Pretty Nick's intentions for her. Like he loved her, in his own really messed up way. He was
Yeah.
trying to save her. He doesn't know how to be the hero. He doesn't know. He is just so in love with her that he does not know how to. It's like of mice and men, and she's the mouse. Like he just doesn't know how to love her and doesn't understand
Right.
how to
Yeah,
show his
very,
love.
very, very true. I think yeah, you're right. Because, and like you said, that prequel, the Christmas prequel shows that a lot. And even if you did read the Lords, there are those
Yeah.
scenes that do hint to that. And so that made that, you're right. It's just, yeah, it's, with me, it was just hard for me to leave the Lords and to separate that whole storyline and feels and have something completely different. It was just like I had to mentally check myself a bunch of times to be like, this is not the Lord, Sarah. This is this story. So like that was, but you're right, like, because like Story had a choice to be there. Lavinia does not have a choice, but she did get the better end, or else she would be at the Velvet Hideaway, like working, like, like she is in a way being saved. What they did there to get it to that
was
not the best thing for her, but I mean,
but pretty Nick definitely, but he orchestrated it all. I felt like he did it all for her at first. Like, I just feel like, and I mean, I don't want to jump to the end, but I feel like that's what spurred the end, was like everything that he did was like, once he like met her, was for her, and he just didn't understand why everything wasn't working. And then he, like, I really loved Pretty Nick, and he betrayed me. I felt betrayed by Pretty Nick. I really loved him.
and he wasn't my top guy.
I know who. Well, it's easy for anyone's top guy to be. I'm Remy, right?
I'm
Like,
Remy. I love
how
Remy.
lovable is Remy? He's great because he's not. I think he has a good heart. He's just mentally ill, and he has some really messed up friends.
He has some messed up friends, and he has a messed up family, and he has just some issues. But when I met Remy, I'm like, you're it. Love at first read.
The way he describes colors, and like, and I just know, I'm like, I know this is not drugs, I know this is not mental health, like illness. I think it's just like he is a very smart. He thinks differently, and the fact that like he's being basically brainwashed to forget this trauma, that, and I had a feeling that there's going to be more to that. I just love that. I love the way that like she grounds him with like the tattoo and like the bell tower.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, even though she doesn't want to be there, she's helping them. She's helping him. She helped him on the bell tower. She helped him with the grounding of the tattoo. She let him do like the drawing on her and stuff. And like, yeah, I love the colors. I love the colors
Right.
so much. And that was so after I read it, there was daffodils at Trader Joe's, and I bought daffodils to put on our dining room table, and I like set them up, and I'm like, these are so pretty. And then I looked at them, I'm like, oh no, Remy would hate this, because I was like, the scene with the yellow flowers, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, Sarah, this is a fictional character, it's okay, he's not coming to your house.
That is so funny. I love that though. That is
I was
so
like,
funny.
oh, it's but I loved I love that about him. Like, out of everybody,
Great character.
like, yes, he's a little mad, right? Because our next one is Dukes of Madness. He's mad, but like, I felt like he was the lesser of the evils between them.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. I feel like he was the nice guy of the group. I mean, it's hard. I'm like, I'm so hesitant to say nice guy, but he was, especially when he was having his good times. And yeah, there's something about him that was really endearing. Like, you just want to take care of him.
Yes.
They do such a great job of making like these tough characters, these brutal characters, be like, you feel for them. And like, while I like Pretty Nick, and at first I like got that he just didn't know how to love, there's something different with Remy, where it is that like nurturing. Like, I get why Lavinia is helping him and like can't help but like want to take care of him. And that's one thing about, I'm kind of happy that Dukes was not just another version of Lords.
Yes.
It's in the same world, but it wasn't just let's repeat the story, but a little differently. That these characters are so different because they're so rich and like just they really have these like multi-dimensional characters you've never seen before. And I think that's why so many people, I don't want to say copy them, but I think that like in indie romance and in dark romance and in reverse harem, there's trends. There was the bully romance for a while, like the Academy bully,
Yes.
and then you'd have the same tropes, right? I
Yeah.
think that like now they started their own like movement.
They're
Tropes.
trendsetters.
They are
Angel and Sam
trendsetters.
are trendsetters, and
From the
yeah,
from the covers to the titles to the content. It's
for sure,
really something. Yeah.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
they're the OG original, like no one can do it better, honestly. It's so good.
Right. Well, and to the world, I loved how we're continuing. I felt like, like, yes, the Lords, we learned some stuff about the world, but like I feel like we're learning even more, even just from this book, like the princes and like what we saw a little bit of that. I was like, oh, like I'm like, did I either forgot all that with the Lords or just the new stuff with the, like when they went to the apartment and I loved that. Like
so good. Well, I know that we have bits and pieces of it, the bear, but I like, we got the Baron, was it the Baron's ritual, the blood ritual, because we're going to get all of them and they all have some interesting,
yes,
some interesting kinks and
yeah.
I'm excited. You got the breeding, you got the blood,
yeah.
and then you just got like, oh my gosh, what are they called? I think they're bad. They're the bad guys in Lord's End in this. It's Lavinia's line. Oh my gosh, what are they called? The counts just are
the
like,
counts, yeah, because I'm like snakes, right? They keep calling them snakes.
They're just terrible. Well, and that's the thing. Lavinia comes from that. Her father is a oh my gosh, a king. Yeah, the king count.
Yeah.
So you're really getting into this with the king count. So you're really getting into this. She was raised into it. And then you've got Sai, who was raised into it, which I found, and Nick was too. Pretty Nick was too. I love that they're half brothers, that their mom has two husbands. I liked that was like, in there.
I love that family dinner where they went.
Family dinner, yes, was so good. And the fact that the mom knew and she like brought her the dress, like she knows what's up. She knows her sons.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we need to talk about Sai because what an arc for a character, because he hates women so much. And he's got so many issues because he's a big schlong. A big schlong. And like women are like, I guess it's so big that like women are scared. And he's like, you hear about insecurities for like little hot dogs, and for like pigs that like it, but not for
that big. Yeah. So that, and that's what I love. I was gonna say about the oh my gosh, I forgot the Barons thing, and how Lavinia like pretended was Sai, right? To like, I love that she did that for him.
He was getting made fun of.
Yeah. And she's like, well, like it's, I don't know. I loved that part. I was like, I found that very interesting that she even did that, because she was like still not happy with them, but she's like, well, these are my people now. Like I'm gonna do this.
She can't help but care deep down, even if she's tough. That's the difference between her and Story, and I love Story, and she's definitely tough in her ways, but Lavinia is like, she definitely is meant to be a duke. She's a swinger, she's a fighter, like she's like, rough and tumble tough.
But Sai's pissed me off a few times in the story, just the way he's treating her. But it's like, he's just so afraid of that rejection. There you go. I'm like, it starts with an R. But I actually think Lavinia is gonna be the one that's gonna be like, okay, let's do this. Like got that personality that is going to to be like, okay, we'll figure out how we're going to work with this monster. Like, we're going to do it, you know?
With this monster.
Yeah.
I just winked for all of our listeners who aren't watching.
Wink.
Well, is it too early to talk about the end? Because the end just really blew my mind. The end was such a wild ride for me. I was so stressed out. I was like, oh God, please don't let it end this way. I was losing my mind.
Yes.
And then
Sai. So Sai surprised me that he was the one that was upset. So okay.
That was the best. That I mean, and I don't think Sai's gonna be like super changed or anything next book. I think it's gonna take time, but the fact that he came and he got her, I teared up. I was like, oh my God. Like,
well, I don't remember it, but that meant a lot to me. So Lavinia's background of like her sister Letitia being like the number one, the one that like, you know, the father, you know, liked more, and then like learning that Lavinia with the closed in places like the elevator, and then you find out about the trunk and stuff, was just like,
oh my gosh,
poor Lavinia, like she's just been pushed and pushed down. Like it was just like, so then her ending back in that trunk,
heartbreaking,
so heartbreaking. And then when we find out, so we find like Remy the whole time, I love him at his psychiatrist, therapist.
Yes.
And well, he was just like, no, like, yeah, he called and he was just like, no more. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then I love like the breakthrough where he finally remembered, you know, he kept remembering the stars and the yellow flower thing and all that stuff. And when he finally broke through with like that whole Tate thing, and that explains why Pretty Nick went off. Right. And like even his tattoo means something completely different than what we thought it meant, right? Because it was chaos, right? But it's not really chaos. It was like the time of Tate's death. Yeah.
Yes, it was the numbers, and it was supposed to be, or it was from, I think it was mayhem. It was like
mayhem.
Even said in the Lord's book that's what that number meant. That it meant like it was the police code for mayhem. But yeah, and they say that he's smarter than everyone gives him credit for. He plays dumb, but he's really smart. Pretty Nick.
Yeah. And I can see that. And it's yeah. And then like just the figuring out that like Remy was there, saw Letitia was part of it, right? Wasn't she there or something?
Yeah.
And that's why
they jumped. Yeah, they had jumped. They were being, something happened to them. And what we're thinking is that and she was hiding something. Letitia ran away. No one believes her. They think Lavinia killed her. That's why Lavinia was put in all these, you know, was taken. She was given to the lords to be kept until this date, and then, you know, they're going to try to marry her off to the count now that her sister's gone. And what we're thinking is we thought the sister was like the goody two shoes, wanted that life. She didn't. Pretty sure she was a lesbian, and that she fell in love with Tate, and they were running away together, and they ended up, you know, that's how Tate ended up dead. And that's what those pictures were in the box. So I think that's what we're thinking now, that it's all connected. So
that was just so good when that came to light, and then Sai rescuing her, and that was just that. It was just so like, can you see this in a movie? Like I can. It's such a good freaking movie. Like,
I'm visualizing it right now.
Yes. Like it would be like, this would be like a top box office movie for me.
I feel like people would go crazy. Like if they saw this in a movie, it would be a little controversial if you kept with how it is, but it would be so talked about, and it would probably win Oscar.
That was just gonna say Oscar. This is an Oscar-winning movie. It's all the awards. Like give it. What is it? The Oscar, and then there's the Golden Globes are TV, right?
Golden Globes are both.
Golden Globes, and isn't there like a SAG one too?
Yeah, that's the Screen Actors Guild, so that's the actors one.
Sure. So all three of those, and then somehow like the theme song is gonna win a Grammy. Like it's just all the awards.
The cover art definitely would too.
That can it be a Caldecott, right? Isn't that the like illustration award?
I'm not sure. I'm good with TV and movies, but I'm not sure about the illustration award.
Yeah. No, it's getting all of them.
And I just, with Sly, I felt like he was like even he had compassion when he found her in that. He was like, oh my God, she's in the trunk. Like he's like, where is she? He like had it on like the tracking, and he's like looking everywhere, and even when Pretty Nick,
Pretty Nick has no clue, like the whole
no,
elevator
he's
thing, and
talking
he
to her
couldn't
room.
sleep when she was in there banging. And didn't Cy hear it too? And he's like, whatever, it's their deal, because he was like, I'm gonna keep. But like
Yeah,
they all knew she had some kind of issues,
but they did not. Yeah, they
Yeah.
thought they knew, but they didn't know. But like Pretty Nick
Mhm.
broke in, remember, to get Lavinia's stuffing some stuff for her too,
Yes,
because
and
he
he's
was.
like, why is this trunk there and it's
Yeah,
empty? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's like, oh my gosh, that just, oh, that's some good storytelling,
very
and
good.
just, I'm so excited. I'm so excited 'cause I feel like book two, it's where, okay, like book one, the setup, the story, and boy, was it a full book. I love the length that they,
Oh yeah.
at which they tell the stories, because you don't feel like I'm turning the next page and I'm scared it's the end. Like they do such a great job with that. So, but like book two, I feel like is when they're figuring it out, they're getting there, and then book three, they're good. They're usually a unit. Maybe they have a little bit left to figure out. So it's
Mhm.
just good. I just feel like it's gonna be so good. Book two, I'm just so excited.
I'm really excited, and
I'm
it's
so
coming soon.
excited.
Excited. And you know what I also really enjoyed about this book was, like I said, like I missed the Lords, was the little him calling Wrath a few times, like, how do I deal with this woman? And then there'd be times where Wrath's like I was just telling you, like, like Tristan's in the background. I was like, roll over, Tristan, I gotta take this or whatever, like, and it was at one point we saw Killer in person, like in the book.
At the
Mhm.
ritual, they were there. It's
They
like
were
story they were
there,
going
they were
back to
at the
Lavinia.
fight,
Yeah, story.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm like, I loved actually them still being around. It wasn't like, okay, their story's over, like, because it's still the world and there's still
Yeah.
like players in this story. They're just not the
Mhm.
main ones right now. So that made me really happy to still get
Me
to see
too.
them.
I love that and we still got such an epic epilogue that happens like way down in the future for the Lords.
Mhm.
But we get them like before that epilogue while they're still in their, I think it's the second year of
Yeah.
it's like story, because Story's younger and still in. Oh, I think they had one more year as Lords, so they're still like Lords on the campus or whatever. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
love, but yeah, all of it, all the just getting to know all the other houses a little bit more and everything. And then just even the guys, because I feel like we met Pretty Nick and we met Cy briefly.
We
But
went Remy when he
we did.
tattooed. He did
Yes,
tattoo them.
yes, yes. I
He did
remember
a
that now.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had no idea when he tattooed that Remy was gonna be, and oh, I love his thing about like when he wouldn't ink girls because then he felt ownership, and there's just they just put these subtle these how do they think of these like
Well, and did
they
they
make
think of
little
that
people.
already? Or did
They
they just
make
go, let's go back and be like, oh, we found this and we can add it?
yeah.
Like, how did that work? I will have to
They
ask Angel. We'll
they
have
make
to.
these full care. I mean, these
Mhm.
are full people. I really feel like they make a full
Mhm.
like people are so many things and their characters are so many things. They're not like one dimensional, they're not they are like they make full, well-rounded, complicated, complex characters.
Yes,
It is freaking impressive.
it
It
really
is
is. It's so impressive. Yeah,
and that's why they're so successful and that's why their books are so good. It's truly top-notch writing.
it is. It is.
It's
It
yeah,
is
I
really
feel
good. Can you guys tell that we really liked this book and we're looking forward to the rest of
um,
the Dukes and all the
and
previous books, and like, and if you are not, if you're listening and you're not on the Facebook group for Angel and Sam, if
get
you're
on it.
not on their newsletter, Angel's newsletter, they do extras. Like Christmas time, they had that extra scene with Pretty Nick and Lavinia, and they April Fools, they did an extra with the Lords. It's like a continuation of their the epilogue, kind of ish. Like, so like you got to, because they give us little extra things here and there that is like, if you're a fan of these guys, then you need to be on there.
Yeah, and sometimes they even like we were talking about this before that were doing free book plates. Like, it didn't cost money, out of their own pocket. They were sending,
Yeah.
if you're lucky enough to see when the forum goes up, they were sending free book plates to people and like bookmarks and stuff.
Mm.
So they're very generous too. So there's lots of reasons to sign up, and like fascinating. They post them like Angel posted something really interesting about this cult, and I was like, well, never heard of this one. There's
Yeah.
a lot of good reasons to join the group.
Yeah. I like their group a lot.
Me too. One of my faves.
Yeah. And I love the Dukes. It just, yeah.
The Forsyth series, the fact that I'm so happy that they said that they're going to do all of them. They're going to do the princes, the barons, and I think even the evil counts. I wonder if they'll do the counts last because they're like evil.
Yeah.
And
How are you going to do the counts and have us love the counts, right?
Yeah. Maybe by then they'll kill off
Perez and right.
Perez is the worst. I love that they named him Perez though. I just, because of, not to slam anyone, but Perez Hilton back in the day was kind of mean to a lot of people. So I just think of that name as being like, yeah, that's a shady name.
Well, yeah. I wonder if that has, anyways. Yeah,
I don't.
I kind of really want the barons because after that ritual, I'm really interested. I know people want the princes, but like I know this is too soon because I'm like, give me all the.
I know, right?
But like I'm kind of really intrigued by the barons right now. I'm really intrigued by them.
The blood. I know the ritual, the unveiling.
Yeah, it was so weird, but I'm like, this is so like okay because this is this is the world, and then everyone goes and participates in this thing too. It's so insane. It's so insane. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I will say there was a poll once, and I had vote, and I think the princess had won the poll, but they decided to go with the Dukes. I'm so happy that they went with the Dukes first. Like, I wasn't expecting to. I love the whole, the boxing, the cut sluts who, they're not bad and mean. And I thought they were going to be mean like the princesses. They're not. They're like, and Haley, who was supposed to be. We forgot to mention Haley and Mama B, and like Mama B isn't Mrs. Crane. Like I thought, oh, we're gonna have another Mrs. Crane. We're not. Like I like that we have,
Yeah, I like that Haley is actually being nice and helpful.
A good person.
She's a good person, and it makes sense, like didn't she say that Lavinia is actually fits more of what they need? Didn't somebody, and it's like, it's like, and Lavinia, like she can sew up their cuts, like she can because she's done it before. So it's like she's just not, a nurse major.
She's unfortunately didn't get a chance to go to school.
Yeah.
She's been through it, but she's literally perfect for it, and she's a brawler, so she can nurse them and brawl with them, and I love it.
I'm really looking forward to how Pretty Nick is going to make up for what he did, and what Sai's gonna do. And then Remy, because like wasn't Remy really upset?
Remy was really upset.
So,
Remy was all that good, and that's what Sai had said. Sai's like, oh, you helped Remy, and like Remy needs it. So I think that's how he was justifying it. But we all know deep down that Sai feels for her, but he'll never admit it.
Yeah.
Well, he will admit it.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. I'm excited to see. I need that. When do we think we're gonna get Sai finally with Lavinia? Is that going to be like a book 3? Are we going to work up to it to book 3? Or do you think?
I think book 2. I think we'll get, I don't know if they'll be like in a, I think, I don't think they'll be in a great place until book 3, but I think we'll get.
You think
book
so?
2. Yeah, I think we will. I don't think they're going to make us wait for that. Well, I guess we'll see, but I don't think so.
I just hope.
It might be hate, hate.
Well, I mean, I feel like it needs to be less than hate. I think it needs to be more because it's like it's going to be a big moment for him, right? Because I'm assuming he's a virgin.
He's a virgin, yeah.
And like with her, trusting, but I think it's going to be him having to trust her to do it. So he's going to have to let go and trust her. So they're going to have that relationship where he's willing to let her.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Now that the more that I think about it, yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, there might be like hand action or something in book
You're
2,
right. You're right. They
but
might wait until
I
it's
can see them waiting.
different.
But I
They
don't
might,
want them to wait, but I'm excited. I feel like they just need that relationship.
yeah.
Now, I think Remy's going to be one of the first. He's missed her. He was so upset. I think once he finds out what happens, they're gonna, yeah.
But Lavinia's gonna have a hard time. Like, I don't think she's gonna want to wheel and deal with Pretty Nick for sitting on laps and kisses. I think she's gonna be like,
Mhm.
I don't know how he's gonna come back from that. I know he already felt bad and stuff. I mean, I just
He
don't.
fucked up. Sorry, everybody. But that was
He,
like when he did that, just
that
like
was
you said. Yeah.
heartbreaking. He broke my heart. Oh my God.
He was just being like a schoolyard boy. Like he was upset at her. So he's gonna just do like it was. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he realized how, I feel like he's smart enough to realize it's going to be really bad. I mean, he obviously didn't know he was going to be locked into a trunk, but like
he chose to ignore what he was doing. He chose to just be like out of sight, out of mind. That's what he chose to do.
He did, yeah.
So good. Sorry.
Okay, well, on that note.
So I mean, really quick, I mean, we can do here the book. I have one because right after I read this one, I started reading Wayward Sons by Angel Lawson, which is a sweeter RH.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That's like OG for me.
Yeah.
OG. Yeah. That's so good. Okay, it's been a little bit since I've read Dukes. I'm trying to remember like what I read after Dukes. I will say I think I know I read this book that has a little bit of vibes in a good way. It's called Hunting Grounds by Crystal North. I think might have been around that time. Definitely recommend that. It definitely is another dark one to kind of get that bit different enough, but like it'll still keep you like if you're like craving more Dukes, it's a good to like de-escalate your darkness, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still pretty dark, so you'll so you go back up to the
yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed Dukes. I'm ready for the next one, and we will see you next time on the Book Over. Bye.
Bye, everyone.